Ain't nobody hiring me. Too black, too strong for this fucking little system, man. No Uncle Tom, so I'm fucking up that little plan. So fucking scared that I might just up and retaliate. You ask me why should my heart be filled with hate? Motherfuck the past, talking about shit that's happening here today. I'm on my knees, oh Lord help me control this rage. I'm being teased like a beast locked within a cage. They're setting traps and almost kill me twice, you see. They won't feel safe till they got me hanging from a tree. I'm still running, but I got the Lord on my side. Pour drink on the corner for my homies that have fought and died. Ain't nothing changed, I still live my life in fear. I ask you God, where we go from here? From here.
Where do we go from here?
So where do we go?
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go?
Where do we go from here?
What's up, everybody?
What's going on? How we doing?
It's T.O.G and Barilla, man.
Is we in?
Yeah, we in here.
Okay, we in the house. What's going on? How y'all doing? Hey, man. Hey, we've been having some technical difficulties. You know what I'm talking about? Hey, man, it's been great. How you been doing, bro?
I've been doing good, man. I'm just trying to add some people in, man. I'm just trying to add some people in.
What's going on? We're looking at that camera. Okay, my fault. My bad. Hey, we got a disgruntled producer.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? We need to work on her
Yeah, I'm
anger
doing something right
management.
now.
I have
That's all.
classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
You know, I'm doing my share.
How do we get self-healing for the problems that we face that we're not facing? Okay.
I'm just doing my sharing right now. You know,
Yeah, you know, hey.
making sure everything's, everything is up to par. Look. So, bro,
Yeah.
you know how we doing, man.
Yeah, that.
T.O.G and Barilla, man. We here.
Yeah, yeah,
About
yeah.
the palm trees, you know what I'm saying? We
Yeah,
back another
sure.
week.
Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah.
A lot of things been going on,
we
man.
got some good things to bring to y'all. But before we get into that, you know how we always do it, man. You know, we're gonna talk about how our weeks were. We're gonna start out with you.
I mean, my week was really well. Last week, not we really started this week. It's been something else this week already, though, for real. So
Okay.
if I include both of them, last week was more of a
My name is
information type week. I got a lot of information doing last week. I learned a lot more. I grew some.
Mhm.
You know how they say when you're around certain people, you get smarter. If they're smarter, you get smarter with them. You know what I'm talking about? So I like being around smart people, and I like being around people that really have a love and a passion for making and bringing change about. You know, real change, not just the superficial, like I want to change, but I don't want to go here to make somebody mad. I'm talking about we really need change. I ain't talking about no reform. I ain't talking about nothing. I to change. Shit need to change. Okay, that's why I'm loving it.
Cool.
Yeah.
So now I know why you hang around me. Now you just said it. You
Oh
like to
my
be around smart
goodness,
people.
what did that have to do with you?
Yeah.
But for real, serious.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean,
that's true. That's
me
true.
and you both. I mean,
That's true.
I
You know
think
what I'm
that,
saying?
the same way you think of me, I think of you. I think you're a very intelligent guy. You know, I've been told you this. You got a story to tell, and we'll get into that later. But anyway, man, my week, we still building, man. God's still working behind the scenes,
Man,
man.
ain't it, man?
God's still blessing.
Ain't it, man?
I said a prayer this morning, and I told him I don't have enough tongues to thank him.
Man, listen. Stop.
I don't have enough tongues,
Ain't
and I
enough,
just,
man.
shit, man, he done brought us through something. I put a post up this morning saying, the older I get, the more things I go through. You know what I'm saying? I'm starting to understand and have the patience, and you know how we always look back on our parents, be like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
Right.
This
right,
what
right,
you know what I'm saying.
right.
So the more things I done went through, now I start to understand some of the things.
I mean, I don't know, man. It just seemed like we've been so grown for so long.
Yeah.
I mean, and I remember a lot of those lessons,
Mhm.
and I've learned a lot of those lessons. But there's so many lessons I got on my own. I'm like, man, because my folks, a lot of stuff I've been through, my folks would never have was nothing like that. You know what I'm talking about? And that was an album to me that put under certain type of pressures you overcome, and you still and a lot of times you don't do it yourself, and you don't really understand that it's not you.
Mhm.
You just know there's something inside of you that keeps you pressing on, and that thing that's inside of you is something that's genetically within you,
Yeah.
that's given from even with the creation story of the Bible, that He breathed the breath in you. So
Yeah.
that's got to be a DNA strand that's got to be within inside the person to bring them to that place where they overcome things that they don't even. I have no idea how you do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And you know, and I was talking about we
Right.
still building on relationships, right?
Mhm.
We still building on mending relationships, mending old wounds.
Okay.
We still on that path. Me and my wife still on that path.
Right.
I know we talked about it earlier. My wife went to see her mom Saturday, which she always goes see her mom.
Right.
But you know, we were leaving there. She said, you know what, babe, take me by so I can see my dad. She ain't seen her dad in a minute.
Okay.
And so we stopped by there, sat over there for about a good hour, man. You know, they just, you know, Tanya got on the phone, so I called her sister FaceTime.
Right.
And the oldest sister, she
Yeah.
like the baby. She just all, oh, daddy, you look so good. You know, she brought everybody on the line on
Right.
FaceTime.
Right.
Look, this my dad.
Right.
Right. Grandkids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So
Right.
it was
That's good, man. Like
yeah.
I say, he won't. I know.
Yeah.
I like him to a certain extent.
Yeah. And like I say, and I just told my wife, if that's what you want to do, baby, that's on you.
Yeah.
If you want to see your dad, go see your dad. You know, it ain't.
I mean,
You know, like I say, he's getting old. I think he told me he's gonna be
90,
87.
87.
He said 87.
87. Yeah.
He's gonna be 87 in a couple of
Right.
weeks, right?
Right.
And so even my wife working on hers, and me and my older brother
Mhm.
came back from California. We're
Okay.
working on our relationship. We talking every day, every other day. We checking on each other. You know, like old times. Because he left here, man. I think I was about school left here back in 88, 89. I might have been about 15. You know what I'm saying? And you got to think, it was a cat that raised us when he was 7, and we was younger than him. And so for him to leave was, you know how you don't look at, at that time you don't know it was trauma. Like, that was a big piece of our puzzle that had left me gone for 30 years or whatnot. So we definitely working on our relationship, and we're gonna keep it going. And we got other people to work with and work on. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that is part of a ongoing cycle of healing from past trauma, past unknown trauma, vicarious trauma, all kind of trauma that we didn't experience through our lives that we didn't understand the effect that it really was having.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying. But having the resilience to keep and continue to move on. You know what I'm saying? That's always been the for me is to get up ability. Let's get up.
Yeah.
You're gonna go through things. I believe our beginnings gave us, me in particular, a sense of resilience that you can't buy that because I done been through and early in life. You know what I'm saying?
Real early.
Early.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
running clubs from here to there, doing this and that. You know what I'm saying? Early.
Yeah,
So
early.
yeah, stuff that a lot of people don't face. And then like we were talking earlier today, to have these relationships, like we've been knowing each other, I know, what'd you say, 45 years?
45. And we still
Yeah.
Yeah.
45 years. That's a long time.
Some people don't last.
And then the people I be around, the people, even my wife's family, they've been knowing each other for years. It ain't this go generations back. And those type of situations, I'm starting to try to figure out if we got this, why are these younger kids not recognizing the importance of it and this street violence or whatever they doing?
Well, I mean, if we go to the kids, I'm always go to us. Be like, we as a whole not doing our job. We as a whole, I can't do it. Point out people individual, but we as a whole. If you telling me the kids ain't doing it, is what we teaching them.
So what about the system? What is the system doing?
I mean, the system gonna be the system.
That's what it is.
But it's still, regardless what the system do right or wrong, it's still as a parent or the elder to do right by the children, because the thing is, the children are the future.
Do you think that, say you got these kids that say in the late teens, early 20s that's doing a lot of things out here. they got to have some parents that understand what's going on or something.
You know they know. You know they
So
know.
you saying that if they know this, if these people know this, they should be saying something to them?
They should. But what happens? Money rules it.
Mm.
Money, money make you be quiet. Money make you do something strange. Money make you do things you shouldn't do. Like what can you do with the younger generation if they send with money and you over here broke as a joke talking about can I borrow? Can you give me? Can you? They're not. I mean, they're just not going to listen to you.
Well, what then you have to go on to your because I'm assuming that the people that you're talking about are older.
Yeah.
So then you have to go to your upbringing where integrity is what was the step that we walked on.
You know, and
That
they go
if
back to you. I'm talking about as a child. What are you doing with your children as a child? Because see, they didn't have money as a child. You know, as a what are you doing there? Because they'll still fall in line. You know what I'm saying? You'll still come back to your roots. You know. In matter of fact, we're finna get ready to talk to some younger generation, right?
right. So
I mean, you know,
this week, well, last week we had some Harvard students coming to Birmingham to talk with us at OAA, Offenders Alumni, where I work in, and we basically was talking about the how to basically I took it as how do you make and build nets or safety nets in a system that has holes in it
yeah.
to where we don't lose people,
Hmm.
where we don't overlook people, where we really are able to really get into the meat of the grind of how to keep people from going certain routes. And first, we're going after the people that's getting shot, that's going through. Because when you get to the extreme of you being shot, something has the backstory is something
Yeah.
going on somewhere. Not all the time, but something. And what can we do to help you bring yourself to a better understanding of you and the love that you should have for yourself and the places and surroundings you put yourself in. You know
Let
what I'm
me ask
saying?
you a question. If I say Harvard, what's the first thing that come to your mind? If I say Harvard,
White folks.
the first thing comes to mind.
Yeah.
So when somebody say Harvard to me, the first thing that comes to my mind is smart,
Mm.
right? So without further ado, we're gonna bring on our guests and let them introduce themselves. And we're gonna I'm excited about having y'all on. I think y'all met Tim. Y'all didn't meet me. But man, when you say Harvard, it's much respect. Much respect to y'all. So without further ado, can y'all introduce yourself and tell us where y'all from and you know things like that?
Okay, ladies first.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Destiny.
Of course.
Okay, so I'm Destiny. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, loud and clear.
Okay. Okay. And I'm at the Harvard Divinity School.
Okay.
I'm originally from Texas. I just finished my undergrad last year, so I went back to school later on in life. I felt like that was something that I should do, and education is important. So I'm from a small community, a rural community in Texas, and so just me going back, it
Hmm.
made me realize how I can break generational curses through education.
Okay.
And Harvard was never on my list of things to do. But 2 years ago, as I went back to school, it was. And I also added Princeton and Yale.
Whoa.
Oh,
And
Okay.
I got into all three. And I'm just thankful that God gave me the ability to make a choice. And so I chose Harvard.
Wow.
And I'm glad
Congrats,
I did.
man.
that's
I
all right.
mean,
That's all right. And Princeton and Yale, huh?
Princeton and Yale.
God
Go
damn.
ahead.
I used to press and yell at motherfuckers, but I ain't never.
Yo, look, congratulations, lady. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, Miss Angel, why you in the dark, man? Let your light be
Look,
seen.
the lighting just didn't work out. I apologize, but
Oh,
can y'all
man,
hear me?
okay. Man, listen. Okay, bro, come on. Tell me something.
All right.
Well, that's gonna be hard to follow up. But my name is Cord Ennis. I'm currently a master's in public administration student at the Harvard Kennedy School, which is the School for
Okay.
Public Policy. My journey to Harvard was just as crazy as Destiny's was. It wasn't a part of my plans initially. I am actually an Air Force veteran. My family's from the Caribbean. So I'm originally from New York, first generation here that was raised here from my family. I did 5 years in the Air Force, went to war twice. I think I discussed that with Tim when we met up. And when I got out of the military after serving 2 tours, both Iraq and Afghanistan, I just wanted to focus on a different aspect of policy other than defense. And that brought me to focusing on a master's degree program, which eventually brought me to Harvard Kennedy School.
Look, so congratulations to you, young brother. Now I don't want to ask the young lady age. You know, if you want to share it, that's fine. But can I ask you how old are y'all?
I'm
You saw
31.
that
31. Okay. Okay. Cool.
I'm 38.
Okay. See, look. So 31. I got a son 31 years of age,
Mhm.
right? But I'm saying I heard both of y'all say Harvard was not in the picture or in the card for y'all. How did Harvard, get on the radar if it wasn't, in the card?
Okay, so like I mentioned, I'm in the divinity program.
Okay.
So of course I'm going to talk about the divine.
Okay.
uh,
Yeah,
um,
that's where it
Good.
started.
that is where it started. So I lived out of the country for a couple years, and when I came back home, I first just landed in Texas. Um, and I just felt the need to go back to school to finish my bachelor's degree. They actually had me graduating this May, but I crammed everything in 2 years and I graduated last year because I knew that this is where I wanted to be. Um, they had the program that I was actually looking for. I got to combine all of my passions into one degree, but
Hmm.
they didn't have religious studies. And so I said, well, God, you brought me here. What do I do? Because I want to study different backgrounds in religion. And I just went on Google and I Googled best religious study program. Harvard Divinity came up, and I didn't know that they had a divinity program. And
Yeah.
I was obsessed ever since. I just imagined myself being here. And then I got into, I started researching Princeton and Yale just in case I didn't get into Harvard. Uh, but I set myself up to pursue all three, and that's how I got here.
Cool.
Okay, that's great.
Good job. What about you, Cole? What how did you get there?
You looking
So
at
for
something?
me, when I was looking at grad schools, I predominantly focused on schools in Washington D.C. because I was going to get into foreign policy, diplomacy stuff, and I had a grandfather who, ever since I went to Morehouse College, I did Morehouse undergrad. He told me, "All right, Harvard's next," and he always say that. I'm like, I don't know if I'll ever make it there. It was seen as this esoteric dream, right? I was like, it's not within my reach, but he had always believed in me for ages. So over the pandemic, my grandfather passed. And right before he passed, I applied because he insisted that I apply. He's like, you belong at Harvard, you got to apply there. So after his passing, I got my acceptance and I had a meeting with my family. And they were like, I know you were planning on DC, but I think grandpa wanted you to go here for a reason.
Okay.
And I don't think it's a coincidence that you got in after he passed. So after meeting
Yeah.
my family, I was like, all right, I know where I need to go.
Yeah.
Both of y'all had a divine path. That's what happened.
Yeah.
I mean, it all, and I think that all things are not coincidence. I think all things are what they are, and the things that happen within our lives are the things that's supposed to happen, and we make the choices whether this way or that way, and we are instrumental in our own movement.
Hmm.
And y'all moving toward greatness and continue to do that. The thing about it that impresses me is that at one time we have to understand that we didn't have the capability or the plausibility to even consider
Well, yeah.
not only Harvard, but to even read a word
Hmm.
of anything.
Yeah.
So you are a testament of where and how far we've come. And I wanted you to keep and what I love about it is unconventional.
Hmm.
You're students. You're students of life, and now you're students in one of the most prestigious colleges in the world. And I think that's great because you learn as you do all the things that you've done within your lifespan. Makes you a professor in life, period. Okay?
Can I ask y'all? Did did y'all come to Birmingham, Alabama? Did y'all?
Yes,
Hmm.
yes.
So what did y'all do when y'all came, and what was your experience like when you came to Birmingham?
Where can we start? So, we came to Birmingham as part of Destiny, as part of a class. Destiny and I are both in this class called Creating Justice in Real Time. It's
Okay.
taught by the ex president of the NAACP, Cornelius Brooks. He
Mhm.
works as a civil rights attorney, and part of his class is to bring students to tackle a topic in justice, and they work with real world clients. So it's one of like, I mean, I think is one of the favorite courses at HKS because you get to at the Harvard Kennedy School because you get tangible experience with these topics on justice, and other classes don't really offer that. Not a chance to really work on public policy while you're in the classroom. So our client was the mayor of Birmingham, and initially the focus of the work was on hyperreality, but then we shifted it to hospital linked violence intervention after we got introduced to Jefferson County Health Department as well as OAA, and that's where our focus in terms of coming to Birmingham. That's how we initiated that trip, and that's what brought us there. Um, as far as Destiny, unless you have anything to add, I'll continue. But
Yeah, continue, please.
because look, I can talk, y'all. Look,
Yeah,
I
tell
mean, let's
it.
get it. This is what the
Testify.
podcast for.
Yeah,
The
talk
talk.
about it.
Yeah.
so I thoroughly enjoy. I think Destiny can test this as well. Like I think we thoroughly enjoyed our experience in Birmingham because it brought everything full circle for us. Because it's one thing to discuss policy, but to see it in person, to see some of the issues that we had read about in person, brought it into a whole new context. So when we're talking about violence intervention, like I mean, I know Tim, we discussed some of the clients that y'all were dealing with, and it brought a lot of discussion points that we brought back to the classroom. In fact, brought back to our professor, who was not aware of the complexity of the issues that we had encountered in Birmingham. And to his credit, he was saying, like, I'd love to have somebody from OAA to speak to our class to discuss that further because we only read about it in scholarly articles, or sometimes we'll invite a guest. But for the most part, I mean, the way the course is designed is for us to get that real world, tangible experience. So that
Okay.
was great. I mean, Tim took us on a ride along one night. It was a good time. We learned a lot.
You had me shook.
Learned a lot. But I think the biggest thing I learned from ride along is how like a lot of things happen discreetly in Birmingham. It's not. I think the biggest thing is that we learn the nuances of how these issues manifest. Like it's not something that's immediately clear to you. And I'm glad we had Tim there to kind of show us, like, look, like it's only 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, but by a certain time, it's not going to be like this. And we saw
No.
little hints of that as we were getting out of the neighborhood and going back home. We're like, oh, like this is exactly what we were studying.
Yeah. So were y'all besides work, were y'all able to have any fun? Go out, have fun?
Yep. Like we were hitting bars. I mean, we were watching a couple games. We saw the Gonzaga game. That was insane. We were
Gotcha.
talking about that for the next day.
Okay.
The food was delicious. We had one guy, Tim knows the British guy, Saul. He was trying Southern cooking for the first time. His
Yeah.
reactions were hilarious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And have fried chicken and waffles at your mama's. First
Oh,
time he tried it, like this
Yeah.
is incredible. He didn't know
she,
what to do.
she's speaking on that. She like, yeah, okay, okay,
Yeah,
That's
I was ready for it.
okay.
Cool, cool.
I'm glad
It
that y'all
brought
enjoyed y'all
it
speaking.
what it's cracked up to be. I was ready for that Southern food.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, yeah. It was a beautiful time. I mean, and the thing about it is to have thoughts other than what we see here.
Mm,
To have people really get interested in the plight that we're going through, trying to make change here. It's not just a lot of times our lineage stops at 1960s in the civil rights movement. Like we have stopped doing it. We're still moving.
yeah.
We're still getting into what we need to be into. We're still making changes. Now, have I always been on the side of that? Nah.
Mm,
You know what I'm saying? But I'm here now.
yeah.
So I always have to remember that, this is something that I know that anybody can do. And from y'all to come here and see and get the real nuance of what's really going on, that help us really understand what's really going on. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
We don't always see it ourselves sometimes. So it's good to have other perspectives, to be able to get along, to be able to work together. To where if you see something I don't see, I should be able to open my mind enough to recognize that I might not just see this. But
Mhm.
let me expand this thought a little bit. And that's how we have to start working together,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah.
What's going to be the goal or the outcome of the visit? Like, will y'all work together on developing something? Will they be back? Will OAA go there? Like, what's the
Okay, the question is, what would be the goal? What do you think the goal, the outcome of our meetings now are? What's the next steps, basically?
Well, the next steps would be we have like a whole list of initiatives, but one is building the credibility of OAA. Like what we saw is that y'all have a lot of tangible experience that since y'all are at a point where you're about to scale up, 'cause I think you're moving from having 5 clients to about 75 within the next year.
Right.
We want to make sure that that's a seamless transition. And by offering any bit of expertise that we can give y'all, whether it's just the decision matrix that we discussed or basically how to triage clients more effectively so that you don't get inundated with too much of a high workload, but also even in terms of funding. We were actually having a discussion today with someone from the Ford Foundation talking about how to leverage the private sector to get more funding to community organizations, because we know
Right.
that's another hurdle that y'all might have to deal with as well. In addition, even credentialing in terms of getting your violence intervention specialists to become health navigators and be credentialed. We're looking at other states to see what type of models they have, because that's another potential source of funding as well. Bottom line is like we saw an issue of like high homicide rates. I think it's the third rated in the country. And we know that your organization is in a good place to do some good. And that's what we were seeing with this trip. And I think a lot of times, sometimes that is lost out because people underestimate smaller organizations. And I think by building that credibility, you can bridge that gap.
Right. And they underestimate the organizations within inside the community and what they know and who they are. You know, a lot of times, a lot of people look for these different names or these brands they put out, but sometimes it's just the guys on the corner that water his grass at 3 o'clock. When
Exactly.
the students come by, they all speak to him because they know that he really watching them as they go past their home. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of things that go on in neighborhoods that we need to really give thanks to the people that do it, and then we don't really understand or have a gauge on how often they do it. These are the people, the unsung heroes that in the neighborhood that we try to broadcast and bring up. On this show, we bring a lot of them on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Are you sure you're 30 years old, man?
What, me?
Yeah. Are you sure you're 31? I mean, are you sure?
What you
Yeah, I'm
mean?
31.
I mean,
He went through 2 wars. He's 31.
Yeah.
at a young age. No, what I'm saying, you speak well. You know what I'm saying? You speak well. Both of y'all speak well. I'm not saying you know, but I'm just talking about the way
See,
you speak.
you the same age his son. He like, what the hell is
Like, look, like me and my son, we talk about what's going on in NBA young boy and all that. And this dude talk about, you know,
Yeah, that's what that's
yeah. So
and that's the beauty of it, that
yeah,
we should be able to reach across all lanes to talk.
Yeah.
yeah.
And then we don't know what we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know if we don't grow. So let's grow and know at the
Come
same
on
time.
now.
So you've been around the world, man.
Sorry.
So you've been around the world, basically.
I have. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Got you.
yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah. We talked about a couple of places we that military life, you know.
So Desi, I'm pretty sure you know, you've been through some things too yourself, right?
Hmm.
You like
I mean,
okay.
we all have.
It's like
So what did you think, Destiny, about the whole trip? Let me get your
yeah.
perspective.
Okay, I'm gonna be really honest with you, because I feel like this trip helped put me on a different path. I won't say a different path, but it added to the path that I'm already on. I literally came home and was like, okay, God, what do you want me to do with this? Because Alabama to me is still a little backwards. And I'm from Texas, and I would say Texas is as well. But I feel for me in the journey that I'm on, we really need to talk about the root of the issue, which is white supremacy. And we don't talk about that enough.
Yeah.
Um, and I feel like it's the way that we communicate with each other. It's even in our behavior. Like it's so ingrained that we don't recognize it. And so I told Tim the first day that I met him, I didn't realize how much racial healing I had to do until I got to Harvard. And
Okay.
that was a whole different atmosphere. You know, I've lived in Italy, I've lived in London, New York, LA, but they put me at Harvard, and I was just like, do I belong here? Is this the place for me? Seriously, because you don't see a lot of us, and the ones that you do, I'm just like, you know, we are in two different spaces, two
Yeah.
different worlds.
Yeah.
So I typically keep to myself, but I love where I am in the community program. I love the people that I'm actually working with, being able to meet Cord and Kelsey, two other people who are graduating this year. So getting to celebrate them and their next transition into life. But this program is really helping me lay down the foundation of what I want to do next. I have 2 more years after this. So I get to come back and I get to still like add on top of that layers on layers and figure out what I'm going to do in 2025 when it's all done at Harvard.
So we have a comment from Tanisa Williams. She said white supremacy and racism are real issues in Alabama, and I totally agree. I think what we do, we tiptoe around it. We
Hmm.
walk on eggshells when we talk about that, like, ooh, better not say that, or we don't want to hurt nobody's feelings. It's almost like we make we make them feel comfortable, and when we the ones that getting, getting dealt with, in the wrong way. So we don't talk about it a lot. Yeah.
I was watching Reggie, the Reggie Jackson documentary just came out
Okay.
on Prime.
All right.
And he was talking about the way he was treated because he played in the minor leagues in Birmingham.
Exactly.
And then and then to be in the big leagues and have to fight for what he's worth,
Hmm.
and then for other people to say, hey, he's angry, Hank Aaron is angry, and they're like, no, they're not angry, they're hurt, you
Exactly.
know. And to be a black man and have to fight for dignity, like, yeah, that's going to leave you in a place where you're hurt, and that hurt can turn into anger.
Yeah. Yeah.
But watching his documentary, and I've watched others, but just this one after coming back from Birmingham, the only person I could really like talk to outside of school is my brother-in-law. So I'm on the phone with him, like, yo, what are we gonna do? Like,
So you need to have
Yeah.
like, let's have the, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
You just put me on something. I'm gonna definitely watch that Reggie Jackson documentary. Thank you.
it's really good.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
Cord, you got anything?
No, I mean, she said it. I think like definitely during our time there, we saw it. Like we took a trip to EJI and went to like Montgomery, and just
Right.
going to that museum itself and seeing like the history, a lot of it that's centered here in Birmingham and Alabama for the most part. It's like this unspoken truth that's just ever present, and I think we saw it in Birmingham. And Destiny and I had talked about it a lot, and there is this question of how do you deal with it? Because I mean, the vestiges of white supremacy, you still see it there, even with how the housing is. I remember we were going to that one botanical garden, and I'm looking around at where all these like white folks are living at, like at the top of this mountain, and seeing the disparity between that and like the other areas of Birmingham we saw, and just even like getting history about the city of Montgomery from what's his name? Remember Darrell Destiny, the guy that like told us about the history of Montgomery, like when we were walking around after the museum.
I didn't go to Montgomery. I
Oh,
left
you
a
didn't
day
go, man.
early.
You were there. Well, long story short, there was this man. He was homeless. His name was Darrell, and he talked about how at one time Montgomery used to be split. Like it was Montgomery and like a city called New Philadelphia. Like he was like, I bet you didn't learn that in school. And I'm like, nah. And he was like pointing out like how all these things that are hidden in plain sight that are vestiges of the white supremacy that is still present in our day in our daily society now, but like vestiges of it still exist to a certain extent within the city. And if you look close enough, you'll find it. And he was pointing out all these things. And I think what broke my heart is just like this man is a black man, and I'm seeing like he has this knowledge, this great knowledge of history about the city, but he's homeless and he's not employed. And I'm like, this is a job. Like, and it was kind of heartbreaking seeing like the amount of people who look like us. I think Destiny, we pointed this out during the reentry simulation as well. Most of the people we saw up front that were incarcerated prior all look like us. And it's like, what does that mean when you see something like that?
So we got another comment for Tyra Williams. She said Montgomery was the center of the Atlantic slave trade in Alabama and the South. That's something I didn't know.
Yeah, that's they
Nugget.
when you went down. Yeah, all that area where you went to the museum and all that was where they did slave trade right there, right off the Alabama River, in the Alabama River. Yeah, I mean, you know, to me, it's like this. Y'all remember the comic strip, the Peanuts?
Yeah.
The Charlie Brown.
Yeah.
You remember the little dusty dude that the dust used to follow him around?
Yeah, Pigpen.
Pigpen. That's America right now. We won't face that Pigpen, that dust, because we won't face the facts of healing. That's all it's about is healing. Once we can heal from the past, and we got to stop giving, letting it just pass like it didn't exist. They're really trying to get rid of critical thinking, history. They doing all type of things, and if we don't stand for something, what gonna happen?
Yeah.
Well, see, that comes with generations because, like, I have a 90-year-old grandmother who started having children at 12. So imagine what she was going through in the 30s and then what she was teaching her children. And sometimes we're just trying to survive, and that's it. But I just feel like, and we're still just trying to survive. I was telling my brother-in-law last night, about the food deserts that are going on in Birmingham, and how I think Tim was saying something like, okay, well, the stores couldn't sustain themselves because people are going in robbing. I said, well, if we had equal wages,
Hello.
there's so many layers on top of this, and like no one's thinking about it. Like, and what I like about Cornell Brooks is that, he is adding it all up, and then I'm in there like, dang, like, wow, I didn't even think about that. But it's generational, and it's so ingrained in us. And that's why I think more about mental health in the Black community. I came into Harvard wanting to break the stigma of mental health in the Black community. And I feel like that's where it starts as well, because we need to talk about it. And I feel like we need to go into the community and talk about it instead of waiting for the community to come to us or waiting for someone to get shot to say, hey, what's wrong? Like, we need to take some preventative measures. And honestly, like, the way that I'm speaking right now, I did not sound like this 5 years ago. But I feel like being at Harvard, I can say whatever I want to say because I'm tired of holding it in.
Gotcha. Okay.
And that's the thing. That's what we have to be. It's an old saying by the old folk. You got to be sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And that's basically where we should be.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at with it. That's why, I tried all type of ways of living, and neither one really showed me anything till I got to this one, to where at least I'm working toward changing something for the better. Because everything else, everything else didn't work for me. I went through a lot of stuff, didn't work. No, but my thing now is like, okay, we looked at that part of what it looked like it might go into, the divinity of just being here, of us talking together, meeting each other. What did your professor, Mr. Brooks, and it's Brooks, right?
Yep.
What did he think when y'all brought y'all report back? What was that like?
I mean, he definitely. I don't think there was much surprise on his part because he's been all around the country doing this type of work. I think for him, he saw as far as what we were trying to do as unique because we expanded the scope of work that he initially had prescribed to us.
Okay.
because his idea of like us working with the mayor, there were some projects that were adopted initially before the semester started, and he saw that we expanded into this new realm. And I guess for him, what he's realizing is like, this is a very novel thing that you're working on, because you're talking about a local organization trying to expand and how to provide support for them in that aspect. But as far as the type of work that we're specifically doing, he was just like, it's definitely new territory. And he was trying to prepare us the best he could with his expertise, but he knows that we have a challenging road ahead of us, so to speak.
Right.
So we do have another comment from Ollie and Dantes Robinson. He said we allow corporations to take over our communities.
Sorry?
He said we allow corporations to take over our communities.
Mhm. And I feel
Yeah.
like when that happens, it's just another way to try to survive again.
Yeah.
And Tim, you said it when we were at the table for the first meeting, that some people just want to work and they don't want to think about what goes on with changing the community, with making policies. It's just like it's not their business, but it really is, because if it's not your business, then whose business is it? And then you're going to pass that on to the next generation. But how many generations do we have to go through before someone decides to stand up and break that generational curse?
And I think with the older generation, I think not everybody. I'm just speaking like for majority. I mean, as a whole, I think a lot of times we be stuck in our ways where we be like uncomfortable,
Hmm.
don't want to ruffle feathers. Like the younger generation, it's more like I ain't taking this. I'm tired. I'm not finna deal with what y'all went through, and they, kind of buck the system a little bit or whatnot.
But see, the problem with that is that the younger generation is misguided, and the older generation is uninvolved.
Yeah.
So
you got
you got to change. The older generation with the dynamicness, if that's a word, of the younger generation. If you guide it in the right place, it'd be like a laser beam breaking the channels of destruction that's in front of, tearing down all the barriers to open up the doors. But as long as they misguided with their energy,
Yeah, I agree.
so we have to. That's why the older generation got to get involved. We can't sit back and say, because every older person has influence over somebody younger because of who they are.
Yeah.
All they have
At
to do
least
is say
one.
the right words to the right kids to help move the other kid. You see where I'm coming from? You have somebody you can talk to like that.
I totally agree.
And we have to be goal oriented as the generation we are. No matter if you're an old soul, an old person, or you got age on whatever, we have to constantly teach the best way to live. Constantly.
Well, this all right. So I've heard this from a older generation person saying, if you want to know something, you got to come seek it or find it. Versus if I know something, why I wouldn't tell. You understand? If I got the knowledge of, or I got what's the word I'm looking for? Just say if I got information. If I got information, why would I withhold the information until somebody comes seek it from me?
I mean, the thing is, they ain't got to seek it. Just tell it.
Exactly. That's what I'm getting at.
Wherever you tell it at, if they're looking for it, where you tell it, you might not be the one who give it to. But once you put it out there in the atmosphere, and you have let this go into the divine nature of things, if he's really searching for this answer sincerely, he gonna get what he's looking for. But you might not be the one to say it, but you done put it out there. My thing is, it's just like with the principles of the Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotic Anonymous, and all that. You keep what you have by giving it away. You constantly just give this knowledge away. Constantly just give it away, and it'll come back to you. That's why we're seeing what we're seeing now, even with Destiny and Cord. This is knowledge they have learned from other people that been, and they kept seeking. What was y'all first? Destiny, I'm gonna start with you. Where did you first get sparked to say, hey? And I know you didn't just grow up and say, I just want to go into the divinity school. Some had to spark that enlightenment in both of y'all to be and do what you're doing now. What was that?
Okay. I got
Oh,
I
Wake
just
up,
got
man.
really I'm here, I'm here. I just got really desperate. I got really desperate of just living my life the way that I was. I can't say I wasn't doing anything wrong. It was just that I felt like there was something more out there for me that I just wasn't like touching. It wasn't attainable to me at that time. So I started fasting and I did my first 21-day fast and I moved to Italy right after that. Because when I finished that fast, I felt like I could walk on water. I was like, ooh, anything is possible. So I just left and I was sustained during that whole trip I was in Italy. I was robbed twice. But that didn't stop me from going back. I went back.
yeah.
I went back and then I went to London and I just felt God move in every space that I took up. I just felt him move. And when it was time for me to leave, I went back home and I was just like, what do I do here? What's going on? And I just kept hearing his voice and the guidance of going back to school, even getting into Harvard. I told one of my great aunts, you could not have told me this. Matter of fact, you didn't. And I feel like sometimes it's the silence is so loud when you don't praise these children, when you don't tell them their worth, and they go out into the street and they figure it out from somebody else,
Yeah.
or they just trying to figure it out in the wrong places. Like that was me. But when I let like all that go, because that stuff was just giving me so much anxiety, and I just had this identity crisis. But starting with my fast is what led me here. And then being at Harvard, like I said, I didn't realize how much racial healing I had to do. And I just look around and I'm like, half of y'all should not be speaking. When it comes to African American history, there's just too many white people talking. Like, why y'all talking? Y'all should just be listening. That's how I felt in my first class. I talked to Tim about it in my Baldwin class that I was in. When we reading going to see the man, fire next time. And too many people are making it sound so intellectual and like theater. And I said, I have experience. I can't make my experience sound theatrical. You know, I don't know what you want me to say, what you want to hear, but what I'm feeling right now is like it is another form of white supremacy. Like I felt like I didn't belong there. And so I started seeking therapy, and my therapist said, it's not imposter syndrome. Everyone kept saying it's imposter syndrome. She said, you can't be an imposter in a system that wasn't built for you. Harvard was not there for us to go. You know, the first day of school, we talked about the legacy of slavery at Harvard. And we talked about the 17 Black bodies that worked at Harvard that are still there. So for me, it's like Harvard's still making money off of slavery, and that makes me angry. And so I'm about to get all the experience that I can get and uh, just do what I can do while I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, Corey, you got any last words? We're finna go to our next segment, man. You got anything else you want to say?
Man, it goes along to your last point when you're talking about like the generational gap. There was a quote that we discussed. We were talking about John Lewis today in class, and he stated in his like last message to the youth that you must also study and learn the lessons of history, because humanity has been involved in this soul-wrenching existential struggle for a very long time. And to me, what that meant is like, there's a saying in history, in study of history, that history doesn't repeat itself, but it sure does rhyme. And I think when people act as if like, oh, well, that was during their time, I can't learn anything from that. I'm like, actually, like this stuff isn't new. A lot of the things like John Lewis even says, like, Breonna Taylor, the George Floyds, that's the Emmett Till of my time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's just like there's a lot of lessons to be learned there if we can reach back. And I think what we need is a strategic partnership between the older generation and the younger generation, because there are a lot of lessons to be learned there.
So basically, it's just history repeating itself.
Yeah, honestly.
Basically, just go back to the days when everybody had big mamas and papa. You know what I'm saying? And we sat and listened at their feet of the thing that, and it ain't got to be that type of game, but older people got to get good advice. Younger people got to be willing to listen when they hear good advice. Hey man, I want to thank y'all for joining us, bro.
Thank you.
Man, hey,
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure to be on.
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? It's on Facebook and it's on YouTube. So
And for the people that joined in late, man, these cats from Harvard. I don't know
Harvard
if y'all
University.
understand.
I don't
Harvard
know.
University.
I don't
right?
know. It's University of Harvard. How do you say?
How do we say this? Right.
It's one of the ways.
University's fine. You got it right. You good. You're
Okay,
good.
okay. It's them folks up there. I told you the white folks. You know what I'm saying?
But man, we want to thank y'all for taking the time
And we
out.
appreciate you, man. And y'all keep fighting the good fight, bro.
And let's reconnect
Destiny.
again, man. I want to hear from y'all. I want to know y'all journey. How far y'all, moving forward, right? So we want to thank y'all.
And when you get ready, when we get to writing the books and all that, the podcast will be here. We'll do all that. So we're gonna have everything together. We got this relationship gonna continue on.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank y'all for joining us,
Thank y'all, man.
Peace and blessings.
Bye.
Peace and
Thank you.
blessings. Good seeing.
All right, that was all right. That was
I'm like, what is that? Y'all.
What is
What's my boy name?
Drip?
Drill.
Drill.
Yeah.
Drill.
I like drill. Yeah. So look, for the people that came on late, man, those two people that went to Harvard, man, and were going to Harvard. They actually go to Harvard, and they ours. They one of us. Like Destiny was saying, she only seen about 7 people look like us, and everybody ain't on the same page. So we got to move forward. We got to do better.
I mean, just working together. I
Yeah,
mean, they came down to visit with OAA and me.
Man, I hate y'all to come get me to go out.
Well, it was just impromptu. We just had it was basically business.
Did you take them to the projects?
I mean, we took them to some spots. You know what I'm saying? But it was just the fact of that. People are interested in Birmingham, and don't think that they're not.
Yeah.
Okay, they're interested in what's going on here. They're interested in where have we come since the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
Are we moving forward now? And we just have to keep doing it. And that's one of the things that
Mm-hmm.
you got it started.
Yeah.
Hush.
So yeah. So man, look, we enjoyed it, man.
Man, it was beautiful. I think it was. I think if you didn't see it, go back and check it out, man. It's a good conversation.
Yeah, it really was.
Very, very intelligent people. Very delightful. I mean, the whole thing was beautiful to me. Just being around, and the fact that we have first of all, they're graduates already of certain other schools. They going to Harvard for the the extra degrees they be
Graduate.
Yeah, the extra graduates. Yeah. So they already and then Cole was at Morehouse. You know what I'm saying? So he graduated Morehouse first.
Yeah.
And his grandfather wanted him to apply for Harvard.
Mm-hmm.
And then when his grandfather passed during COVID, he got his letter after his grandfather passed, and that's how he got it. That was, and Destiny, she's told she had her awakening.
Yeah.
I mean, all that is beautiful. And you remember one time you couldn't go to goddamn Haywood talking about Harvard, okay?
Look, so what
You couldn't go to Mr. Haywood talking about let me read something.
Couldn't go to Hoover.
Hoover, okay.
Edgar Hoover, that is.
Mm.
Look, so what would be some type of words of encouragement to our people? Seeing our people, we just showed.
I mean that within itself to the now listen, both of these young people, 131 and 138. Now listen,
Still young.
Listen now, these young folks, and it lets you know that it does not stop because you reach a certain age that you can get somewhere, do something you feel like you want to do. Don't stop.
And then you ain't like all right. So Destiny, she's 38. Then a lot of people be like, "Well, I'm too old."
That's crazy. I'm going back. I'm gonna go back now.
You know what?
Okay.
But I can remember.
I'm gonna go 2. I ain't been back nowhere. I'm gonna go 2.
I can remember Barbara, who raised me.
Mm-hmm.
I can remember as I got older, she used to always say, "Robson, why you won't go back to college?" She always called me Robson. And I ain't got time for that. I got to take care of my family. She used to always say, anytime she saw me, you too smart not to go to college. She used to always cringe, like, why you won't go finish college? You know, and as I got older, and I'm thinking about it now, like, because I want to tell my oldest girl, like, baby, go finish college.
That's what her grandmother did. I mean, mama went to college.
Yeah.
When we lived in Gate City, she was going to college.
Yeah.
So, that's the thing is just making up your mind that getting involved. That's the biggest thing for me. I always said get involved because we have to understand that he said something that the silence, I mean, Destiny said the silence speaks so loud.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, what came to my mind when she said that is basically spare the rod, spoil the child.
Mm-hmm.
Because when we don't connect or conversate with our younger generation, the result of that is the gunshots. The result of that is the murders.
Yeah.
The result of that, and that speaks so loud. So when we're silent here,
Mm-hmm.
it speaks loud on the back end.
Exactly. And that's all we're getting at.
Shit.
That
That thing hit me like that, man. I was like, man, look at this shit.
That's what I was getting at when I was saying when you talk about the kids, what they're not doing, that's a reflection of us majority of the time
Right.
because what we not doing,
Exactly.
like you said, the silence, just we'll be like,
It's
we
so
ain't do
loud.
nothing. You're right. You didn't say nothing. You didn't move. Or whatever. That silence right there is what happens back here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
so to me, great conversation.
Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
y'all for joining in,
Okay.
speaking on things. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Talking about what we talk about. You know what I'm saying? We move forward as we move forward constantly.
I
other
still
things
gotta
coming
talk
up.
about my sports, right? Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, your thing been there. Your bracket dead no more.
Yeah. But I still got one though. I picked for the Final Four. I picked UConn to go to the Final Four.
Okay.
Yeah, so they said that, but yeah, it's dead. But so out of the Final Four,
Yeah.
I'm seeing who would I take to win it all.
Okay, who you taking?
I still take UConn.
I mean, they don't want experience for real, right? Who else got experience being in there?
So who is the Final Four that's left?
I have no idea.
So we got San Diego State.
They got some. I believe San Diego State went with the Kawago with them.
That's
They
what
might have.
Kawhi went.
Yeah.
San Diego State. You still got them. Then you still got FIU, two Cinderella type teams. Then you got UConn, and you got what was the other team that made it on the other side?
I mean, it's 4.
Texas.
It's still 8. It's 8. Or
No,
what is it?
4. Final Four started Saturday. I think it's Texas. Texas beat Miami. Yeah. So UConn got to play.
Okay, so
FIU got to play.
Another Cinderella.
Yeah, FIU got to play. Team we were just talking about. We just said it. But my point is, you're going to have a Cinderella in the championship because you got FIU playing against. What's the team?
I'm not a sports person. What's a Cinderella?
A team they would have never thought be there. You know what I'm saying? Like a team that might have been a higher seed.
Like when Cinderella to the ball, she was dressed up as something that she really wasn't, but she really was a peasant. So these teams are basically, they never thought these teams would win. They get in by default of
They
a
conference small.
conference.
FIU, Florida
Right.
Atlantic, is a smaller conference, and they're in the Final Four.
Right.
So they the
Cinderella
Cinderella
team.
of that
Of
tournament.
that tournament.
So they actually playing San Diego State, which is one of the weaker teams out of the
Well,
4.
that's what you're talking about, San Diego State.
Yeah, they playing each other. So FIU and Cinderella, you kind of Texas are the beats right now.
Yeah, they
They playing each other, Saturday.
So one of them gonna go.
Right. So I'm picking UConn
Over Texas.
or Texas to win it all.
And San Diego State over Florida.
And I'm picking. I pick Florida Atlantic.
Boy, they win.
We know what. Well, I ain't gonna say we never Cinderella because all the way back in the '60s, who would that beat? Kentucky. You know that black team,
Western Texas, or something like that.
Yeah.
West Texas.
It
It was
was like all the big
1966.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So,
But then, you know, at one time, Villanova, it was a Cinderella for one time when they won.
Yeah.
Close to it. You know what I'm saying? They weren't supposed to be who they beat.
yeah. So, look here. So definitely that. So I'm picking that. What else? I know it's time to get out of here. There was something else I want to tell you too. Lamar Jackson. Lamar said he want to be traded.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The Ravens not doing right. Yeah, right.
I mean,
somebody need to put some money on.
I mean, if everybody running the game, I mean, it's plenty of teams that can use them to win, but you know, when all the owners work together, come on, man.
Yeah, you know,
Come on.
Yeah. Look here,
you want to disgruntled nigga,
Never. Look, man, we enjoyed it, man. We enjoyed it. We want to thank Destiny and Core. I want to thank them for coming on.
Appreciate y'all.
Students that go to Harvard.
Anytime. And then talk to your folks from Harvard. Tell them, you know, we like to talk about all type of things. You know what I'm saying? If you need somebody to come up there and talk to y'all about it, let us know.
Yeah.
You got T.O.G. Barilla. We'll keep that with you. Yeah.
Podcasting
live from Harvard with them folks.
T.O.G. Barilla. Y'all say it. But yeah, we enjoyed it, man. We finna get ready to get out of here, man. Every Wednesday night, 7 p.m.
That's what we do.
Right. That's what we do, man. We want to thank everybody for joining us, man.
Yeah.
And don't forget to like and subscribe, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, subscribe to our T.O.G. and Barilla podcast page. T.O.G. And Barilla.
YouTube, Facebook.
Yeah,
I mean, Instagram coming. We working on that.
So definitely, man. We finna get ready to get out of here.
Yeah, once you figure out how we do this right
here.
Yeah, the hunt is on. Every step I take is with my gauge. I'm selling dope. I can't live on fucking minimum wage. A young black man. Now you know what that means, G. A hard life, and ain't nobody hiring me. Too black, too strong for this fucking little system, man. No Uncle Tom, so I'm fucking up that little plan. So fucking scared that I might just up and retaliate. You ask me why, should my heart be filled with hate? Motherfuck the past, talking about shit that's happening here today. I'm on my knees. Oh Lord, help me control this rage. I'm being teased like a beast locked within a cage. They're setting traps and almost kill me twice, you see. They won't feel safe till they got me hanging from a tree. I'm still running, but I got the Lord on my side. Pour drink on the corner for my homies that have fought and died. Ain't nothing changed.